Last year's trade piece for Scott Kazmir, Daniel Migden makes his major league debut today in Cincinnati as he faces the Reds in Game 2 of this interleague matchup. We're at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. It is a hot and humid day as we get set for Game 2 of this 3-game series. It's the A's and the Reds interleague baseball coming up on CSN California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. We have a major league debut today for the A's. Daniel Migden, the right-hander. Well, we've heard a lot about him, Ray. He's put up terrific numbers in the minor leagues, and today we get to see him in the big leagues.
Get to see the handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
that's going to be special to see from this young right-hander. 46th pitcher to make his debut as a starting pitcher for the Athletics. Of course, Sean Manaea has also done that this year. But for Migden, he is really excited about today. We thought we'd see him early in the season, but he came over from the Houston Astros and the Scott Kazmir trade. But he gets a chance to start today. An assortment of pitches that we will talk about and see throughout the ball game. But no doubt, very excited young man this afternoon here in Cincinnati.
It wasn't that long ago we were talking about Dan Straley this way. Remember, Straley with the A's had some great minor league numbers. He's bounced around a little bit now with the Reds, Ray, and he's really having a good year for Cincinnati.
He's having a great year pitching, but he also enjoys swinging the bat, which you get a chance to see him to do that today as well. But he's got the full beard. He has an assortment of pitches, a good slider as always that he has had throughout his career, especially with the Athletics. Good changeup, but he's pitching well, getting a chance to start for a ball club. That is, a lot of clubs like to get starting pitching, but I think from his standpoint, getting this opportunity, he's had some big games like that against the Dodgers. A's will see him today, and don't think that the A's know what he throws. They will know what he throws because Darren Bush will tell them otherwise. They probably don't even remember Daniel Straley, but he's a good pitcher, and he's getting a chance to pitch for the Reds.
And the A's got to get that offense going. They've scored a total of 5 runs in their last 3 games. Now keep it right here on CSN California. When we come back, we will check in with the A's pregame live studios and then back to Cincinnati for lineups and first pitch. It's the A's and the Reds.
AT CIN California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. It's back. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to the Great American Ballpark here in Cincinnati. That's the Reds starting pitcher today, Dan Straley, former Athletic. So he will head out to the mound. Reds wearing the red tops and white pants today. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open daily. It is warm, folks, 92 degrees and pretty humid. A nice breeze to, well, at least help cool things off just a little bit. So a late afternoon start time here in Cincinnati, which is a little bit of an odd start. You could see the sun be an issue today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be this way pretty much all day. And we saw last night how it affected the left field of Duval in the early part of the game. So it should be sunny, but see if the ball carries a little bit better than last night.
A's lineup has Coco Crisp leading off and playing left field. Jed Lowry will hit second and play second. Then Vogt will do the catching. Valencia at third. Alonso at first. Simeon is your shortstop. Then Muncy, Burns, and Migden.
And it is Dan Straley, a former Athletic, and he's bounced around a little bit. It seems to have found a home with the Cincinnati Ball Club. As we showed in our open, similar pitches that we've seen throughout his career, especially with the Athletics. Good slider, good changeup, stinky fastball. He is making his 11th start of his 14 games. So Dan Straley with the full beard now pitching for the Reds.
So he climbs up top of the hill and he is ready to go as Coco Crisp steps in. Reds won last night 2-1 and it was a good ball game, but there's a baseball loose out in left field.
Straley was ready to go, but no left fielder. The ball had to go over, retrieve the ball, get it off the field.
And really just a couple small, maybe fundamental breakdowns by the A's in last night's game, and it ended up costing them. First pitch of the game is a little bit outside to Coco Crisp. Coco at 226 with 5 home runs, 22 runs batted in. And that one on the outside corner for a strike. Coco had a couple of hits last night. He was 2 for 5. In fact, he singled in his first 2 at bats. Suarez, the third baseman, on the edge of the grass, and this one's hit high and foul down the right field line.
As always, when the temperatures are high and humidity is high, and the key is for a pitcher to throw strikes, try to get his team back in the dugout as quickly as possible. Although, look down on both dugouts, players are out in the sun, so they're not hiding, getting underneath the overhang.
Hard slider down and in. So 2-2 the count. Lowry to follow, and then Vogt here in the very first inning from Cincinnati. And now full count. Probably a decent day, though, to be in the shade after a while.
Yeah.
There's the umpires. Jim Reynolds calling balls and strikes. Manny Gonzalez at first. CB Bucknor at second. Field and Culberth is your crew chief down at third. Payoff pitch to Coco Crisp. Misses outside, and the A's have a leadoff runner. Cincinnati Reds defense today. It's the same as last night. Duval, Holt, and Bruce in the outfield. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips, Votto in the infield, and Tucker Barnhart is your catcher. So Brian Price keeps it exactly the same, and that includes their lineup as well. Reds are playing a lot better. They're 23-38 on the year, so not a great record, but they have won 9 out of their last 13. So he feels like they're starting to head in the right direction.
It's not who you play, it's when you play them. The A's saw the White Sox early when they were hot. They're struggling now. The Reds have been struggling. Now they're hot. So the A's need to step it up a little bit, try to get hot themselves, put on a nice winning streak.
Outside to Lowry. Australia will get a quick visit.
Looks like he's trying to adjust down in the zone a little bit too much, and then when he tries to elevate to get in the strike zone, he's out of the strike zone. So not a bad idea for Barnhart's catcher to go out and visit with him. And I would think, okay, for Dan Straley, a former member of the Athletics, had an opportunity to pitch, and now he's not here, trying to maybe prove that they were wrong and not keeping me. Fastball, slider, curveball, and changeup for Dan Straley. It's a good changeup.
Well, there was a time when Dan Straley was right at the top of the prospect list for the Athletics. Remember, it was 2012 when he pitched in Double-A, Triple-A, and had great numbers, and then got to the big leagues. And then the next year, 2013, he had a pretty nice season for the Athletics. Made 27 starts, won 10 games, but could not duplicate that.
Yeah.
2014 saw him struggle, and then he was sent to the Cubs in the Jeff Samardzija trade. One and one the count to Jed Lowry, hitting .301, a homer, 19 RBIs. That pitch is high.
Like Coco was going to run, shot up a flare, but the quick pitching by Straley deterred him from running. Well, they have the times. That's what Mike Aldrete, the first base coach, has the clock. We showed Mark Kotze on the bench with the clock. And timing, 1-3 is good. 1-2, 1-3. Pitchers at 1-5 and higher.
Take a shot.
Absolutely. You got to run. And you can say all you want about the catcher's ability to throw, but if the pitcher takes a long time to get the ball to the catcher, see Mike Aldrete with the stopwatch attached to his belt loop. Just make sure that if he gets excited, he can drop the stopwatch and use both hands.
Another foul ball.
Well, one thing about Coco Crisp, and of course Billy Burns is hitting 8th in the lineup today, of course, with the National League pitchers hit, but you need to try to manufacture runs. If you have the speed, that once you get on base and you can get into scoring position. Last night, the second time, Coco got a base hit, was doubled up when Lowry hit into a double play. And early in the game, as we have talked about, you get in scoring position, get to third, nobody with the infield. They're going to play back and give you the run.
So a full count again.
Barnhart doing a good job on the hard slider down and in, moved in front, got his glove to the ground.
So we'll see if Coco takes off with the count full. Vote to follow. Coco not running, and the ball's popped up on the infield. Phillips coming in, shading his eyes, and he has it. So that's the first out of the ball game. And here's our Ford Wright choice. August 3rd of 2012. And that is when Dan Straley made his major league debut. And he faced the Blue Jays at the Coliseum, 6 innings. And he got the win. He was very good that night. He gave up just a run, 5 strikeouts. So Dan Straley, his major league debut, August 3rd of 2012. So then there's the breakdown. We mentioned 2013, and then the struggles started in 2014. I think still he was highly thought of at that time, and that's why the Cubs wanted him in that big Samardzija trade. He then went from the Cubs to Houston in the Dexter Fowler trade. And he was with the Astros in spring training, but they traded him to San Diego. And like 2 days later, the Padres placed him on waivers and the Reds grabbed him. So a little bit all over the place for Dan Straley as Vogt's got another hit, rolls into the corner, and they're going to hold up Coco. So it's second and third and 1 out. So Vogt drops one down the right field line.
So off-speed pitch from Straley, and Stephen Vogt out in front of the off-speed pitch and pulled it down into the corner. And that's when the changeup difference in the height there. If it's down where he wanted it, maybe a ground ball, but give Jay Bruce a lot of credit because Ron Washington had Coco running And he was going to send him as Coco reached third base. He thought he's going to be sent, but Washington decided because he had a better view. And of course, the way Broch threw last night, don't want to take a chance with him. So here's your infield back, Kuip, and that's what we're talking about with early in the game. You don't want to open up a big inning. But opportunity for the A's to take advantage of just a ground ball, something to score at least one.
Valencia at 340 with 9 home runs, 22 RBIs. And Phillips shaded far to his right, almost right behind second base. Alonso to follow. And the count is 0-2.
But if he swung at that pitch, what do you think he's going to get now? Look at the location. That pitch started out of the strike zone, and a breaking pitch, a slider, and Barnhart does anything but call a similar pitch. There's something wrong. And that would be a chase pitch. I hope Danny can hold up.
Straley missed the target. The ball ended up being high. Valencia held up. So 1-2 the count. The A's just 5 runs scored total in their last 3 games. And that one rolled foul, and during this season high 6-game losing streak, they've scored a total of 14 runs. I think when you're struggling offensively, that's when you have to make sure that your at-bats are good.
Exactly.
Six straight losses overall and 8 straight road losses. Fouled straight back. So a little tough sledding right now for Bob Melvin and the Athletics. They're sitting at 25 and 35.
This means so far the visiting clubhouse manager cannot play any loud music.
Nope, keep it quiet. It's been quiet for a while, especially on this road trip.
That's what I mean. It's just hard to believe to go that long, especially the A's have had some early leads but not been able to hang on.
1-2 the count. Setting up outside, blocked nicely by Barnhart. So now the count 2-2.
Big league block by Barnhart with a hard slider down and away, and that's called smothering the baseball, especially with a runner at third. Pretty good technique.
So 21 pitches already for Straley. So he's getting his work out of the stretch, that's for sure. There's a line drive, base hit left field. Coco will score. Vogt will go to third and stop there, and the A's get a big hit early, and it's 1-0.
A hanging breaking ball, and Danny Valencia swung wildly to pitch off the plate, but this hanger tried to do the same thing, did Straley, but he left it in the middle of the plate, and that's called a hitter taking advantage of a mistake. Left the ball up and between third and short. Nice diving effort by Suarez, but no chance.
So another opportunity as Yonder Alonso steps in with runners at the corners. Best average with 2 strikes in the American League. Danny Valencia at 329. Grounded toward Phillips on the backhand. Flips to second for 1. That's a double play. 4-6-3 ends the inning. The A's get a run on Valencia's RBI single. So bottom of the first coming up, and it is Major League Baseball debut time for that young man. Look at the lineup today for the Cincinnati Reds. Such was Zach Cozart, then Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce. Big season for Adam Duvall, Eugenio Suarez, Tyler Holt, Tucker Barnhart, and the pitchers Dan Straley.
And the day we've been looking forward to, as well as this young man, Daniel Mengden. Spelled M-E-N-G, but it's pronounced M-I-N-G, but it doesn't matter. The young man is making his major league debut, and he actually played 14 and 15. And this year, 4 starts at AA, 7 starts at AAA, and his major league debut this afternoon, the 46th pitcher to make his debut in the rotation. We wish him well.
The Mengden's first pitch as a big leaguer, and here it is. And it's a little high to Zach Cozart.
How about the windup?
A little different.
Yeah. He said he's a little bit different in his windup. Spreads out. But he's got the full-on Ross Ohlendorf type of windup.
Now 2-0. Mengden is 6'1". He's 220 pounds. And check it out. This is a little different.
Yeah.
He kind of rocks.
Wide with a start and up over the head and a couple of hesitations. Maybe he's been watching Johnny Cueto.
High fastball, foul back. Mengden is from Houston, Texas, went to Texas A&M, and of course was drafted by the Astros. So he's probably thinking this is great. Drafted by the Astros. I'm from Houston, but when the Scott Kazmir deal was made, the A's and the Astros. And he's got Daniel Mengden. Also got the catcher Jacob Nottingham, who was traded to the Brewers for Chris Davis.
Yep. So pretty good trade. Scott Kazmir now with the Dodgers. So the Astros don't even have him. Gave up 2 very good players, including this one starting today. You know, he's from Houston. He's familiar with his heat and humidity.
2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and a pitch that was way out of the strike zone. Cozart goes down. So the first batter that Mengden faces in his major league career is Zach Cozart, and he strikes him out.
Well, the good thing, what Stephen Vogt did, a couple of fastballs, one low, one high, went to slider, struck him out on the slider out of the strike zone. Nice block by Stephen Vogt. But he did it with Rich Hill. Stephen Vogt did. He started calling the curveball and sliders, and Rich Hill, 8-game winner. Hope to see him back soon. But Mengden, fastballs, but then went to the slider and seemed to change him at least for the first hitter.
I think he was destined to play with the A's, though, with the mustache.
Yeah. He did not look the same way yesterday. So between yesterday or last night and today, he's changed his look completely. What it is right now. Somewhere Raleigh Fingers is saying, I know that look.
You know what? Bill King's saying that too.
That's right. There's Raleigh and Cincinnati in the 72 World Series. Raleigh Fingers with the handlebar mustache. And Mengden will get a chance to see his when he drops his glove.
One and one the count to Joey Votto.
Good shot, guys.
So what you're saying is he tightened up the stash a little bit for today.
He tightened up his shave. He, took the scruffy look off. The mustache actually was down like he's a gunslinger, and then he put the mustache wax on it, turned it up, and great shot by guys as we had the open where right at the end they're showing him, and he's got a little twist of the mustache, the handlebar. It's a good look. Sean Manaea also this year made his debut in the rotation, so he's watching as a veteran with Mengden making his first start.
1-2 pitch down and in to Votto. See, this was before the game. Watch. I'm feeling good. My arms. Let's make sure the stash is good. Yep.
That's great.
Yep. I think he twirled it just a little bit.
Yeah. That's a good look.
We like it.
And it's nice to have not only a different look, but a different windup instead of just the basic status quo windup. He's got a different look for sure.
There's a line drive towards center, and that'll be a hit. Bounces in front of Burns. Mengden has given up his first hit. Nothing wrong with giving it up to Joey Votto.
Yeah, I was thinking that when he talks about to the grandkids, if it's Joey Votto as the second batter after striking out Cozart, hit a changeup. Not a bad changeup. Left it up a little bit, so it put me in the stretch for the first time to face Mr. Phillips.
So indeed, Brandon Phillips, who is sitting on a 13-game hitting streak. That's a National League high right now. Overall, 268 with 6 home runs, 27 RBIs. First pitch, a swing and a miss.
And Kev, we've talked about how probably the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, maybe longer, where the starting catcher has actually gone to the bullpen to warm up the pitcher, and something that's just kind of natural now. Well, this is a case where it's good that Stephen Vogt had a chance to catch him in the bullpen, catch him warming up, and have him ready to come out on the mound. So it's not seeing him for the first time in 8 pitches as he warms up on the mound.
Migden was not in spring training with the Athletics, not in the big league camp. He was in the minor league camp. And I asked Kurt Young, oh, what do you know about it? He said, well, there was a day in spring training where Sonny Gray was pitching over at the minor league complex. And he was pitching in one of the spring training games, and the opposing pitcher was Migden. And Kurt said, that's when I first saw him and got a good close look at him for 3 innings. But those are the numbers this year. 4 starts in AA, and then the 7 starts in AAA. Terrific minor league numbers. Oh, 2 pitch is hit high in the air toward the seats. Alonso over, and it'll be into the seats.
I think last summer for the Athletics, they had 2 players, one Ben Zobrist and one Scott Casby. The Royals wanted to help themselves to try to win a world championship. They were willing to give up Sean Manaea to get Ben Zobrist. And the Astros wanted another starting pitcher, and they were willing to give up this young man plus Nottingham. So really, in 2 players, the A's have essentially gotten an everyday left fielder in Chris Davis and Sean Manaea, and Daniel Migden starting today.
That one's hit to right field, hit pretty well. Muncie's back though, and he's got it. So he gets it back in quickly. Yeah, so obviously the A's happy. Looks like they may have a couple of young pitchers to build around. The Royals are happy because they won the World Series, and I think the Astros happy because they got back to the postseason.
Absolutely.
So everybody's probably happy. Each team in different situations.
And you know, the A's are hopeful that Migden as a starter, Sean Manaea as a starter, that they can look back and the Astros and the Royals can say, man, we just lost out on them. But you know, bottom line, you're hoping when you trade key members who are veterans that you have the scouting departments watch these kids. And for Eric Kubota, the director of scouting for the Athletics, and his scouts, and they obviously had taken a look at them. So when the 2 clubs came calling, they said, okay, you want this guy, then we want this guy, and or these guys, and A's were able to get them.
1-0 to Jay Bruce with the shift on for Bruce. Big, powerful left-handed hitter. The Reds could be in that same situation with some of their players. Seems like Jay Bruce is the most logical guy to get traded this year. Bruce having a very fine season. He's a veteran, but he's not necessarily an older player. He's still got some good years ahead of him. And I think if you threw out the right package, I think the Reds would make the deal.
His name has already been mentioned, but the Reds didn't like the package, so they decided to hang on to him right now.
Well, on top of that, Ray, he has a club option for next year. So if you traded for Jay Bruce this year, you could decide to keep him next year as well. So that's a big deal. And if you're the Reds, that alone may get you another player.
Absolutely. Yeah, the cost certainty and having a player under control.
So Bruce with the walk, and now Duvall will hit. So 2 on, 2 out here in the first. Duvall had a big hit last night. We talked about him in the open last night, and what a fine season he's having here in Cincinnati. First pitch in there for a strike. And he fits in that category of what we're talking about. Does Duvall? Giants needed a starting pitcher last year for the pennant race. Reds wanted Duvall, and the deal was made for Mike Leake.
17 long ones.
And this one's hit the shallow right. Muncy hustling in, still coming in, and Muncy caught it. Heck of a play by Max Muncy as he had a long ways to go. And the Reds strand a pair. So Daniel Mignon gets out of a jam in his first big league inning. And a nice play. California.com. Each week, our insider Joe Stiglitz talks baseball with players, coaches, special guests, and more. This week, Joe's guest is former A's knuckleballer and Houston Astros radio analyst Steve Sparks. Find that on CSNCalifornia.com. You can also find it on iTunes. So Joe Stiglitz sitting down with Steve Sparks, who's one of the good guys.
He is.
Sits right next to us when we're in Houston doing the radio for the Astros.
He and Robert Ford on the radio for the Astros, and
they always treat us well when we're in Houston.
They didn't last weekend, though.
Yeah, they weren't nice to us on the scoreboard. Before the game, they were nice to us. After the game, during the game, they were not nice.
And we hope Alan Ashby's doing well, because Ash kind of lost his voice a little bit over the weekend and missed the trip down to Arlington, Texas, or for them across the state.
Simeon swings and misses. So Simeon is the first strikeout for Dan Straley.
Well, there's one thing for sure. The A's scored a run in the first inning, had first and third, one out, and didn't add another run. Last night, Stephen Vogt hit a solo home run. That's it for the A's.
Well, when you come to Cincinnati, you see that guy. He's in the Hall of Fame. Marty Brenneman. He's terrific. 43 seasons as a Reds broadcaster. But unfortunately, his son Tommy is not here. Tommy, also a Reds announcer, but Tommy had a little throat surgery, correct? Yeah, he's going to be out for a little while.
Had a cyst on a vocal cord, which had it surgically removed. And Marty, his father, said at least till maybe August 1st, but he also does network football. So he'll definitely be back for that. Sure. But we wish him the best as well, because he was with Arizona their inception and decided to come back where he worked with his dad. That has to be very special.
No question. They look more and more alike every year.
Yeah, I know. Marty's a piece of work. He does a great job, but before the game, he's a piece of work.
The more Marty busts your chops, the more he likes you. So if he just says hi to you and walks away, well, then he doesn't like you. But if he is on you and stays on you, well, then he loves you.
You know, Max Muncy, Cap, you said it best when he made that great play as Hall of Famer looks on. But Max Muncy charging in and catching the ball.
Hit hard but foul. Sorry, we're laughing up. We were telling Marty Brenneman that he's on our air and he blew us a kiss. So
this is a Max Muncy play as came charging in. The good thing is he didn't break back on the ball. He came charging in and didn't have to leave his feet, which is also very special. And the fact Jed Lowry was going out, no collision.
Yeah, a long ways to run. Muncy strikes out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Straley. We got to know Straley with the A's, and when his slider was working, it was a very, very good pitch, and that's it right there.
The back foot, they talked about the back foot to be the left foot of the left-hander Muncy, and it looks so good coming in. And you know, I was talking to Daniel Coulomb, and he said the slider similarly has helped him with the right-handed hitters because of the back foot. Of course, Straley facing a lot of lefties in this A's lineup, but the slider's working against the righties as well.
Here's Billy Burns hitting in the 8th spot. Burns did not play last night. He's hitting .248 with 6 RBIs. Just 6 hits in his last 40 at bats.
Talking last night about Billy Hamilton, the speedster for the Reds, and the importance of him hitting the ball on the ground, the line drives. And the same applies to Billy Burns with his speed. You just want to see him hit the ball on the ground, utilize his speed, get on base, and take it the notch further. That's not good.
That's not going to get it done. Suarez has it, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Dan Straley. Bottom of the 2nd coming up. By AAA. What does your insurance do when it's not doing insurance? It should do more. Go to AAA.com for more details. We are in Cincinnati on a hot day, and those people, if you're not at the ballpark, that is not a bad idea. A pontoon boat out on the Ohio River.
They actually have the option of coming to a game or doing that today.
Sure.
And
maybe they'll come tomorrow.
Yeah, if they can park their pontoon.
The Ohio River, right out beyond right field. But we're also, somebody just told us, so as we look out, Ray, we can see the Ohio River, and then there's another river that connects to the Ohio River. It's called the Licking River. Is that right? Okay. So we're also told that that river that we're looking at, it flows north.
No, that's not true. You can't have a river
so
flowing north.
It flows north into the Ohio River. That right there.
So that's north.
That river is flowing north. And if you don't believe me,
I don't.
It's our terrific crew here in Cincinnati that is passing this information on, and they're all shaking their head. Yeah. Like it's normal. That's not normal. A river flowing north is not normal.
Well, they're not normal.
Mississippi River flows south.
It flows north.
We learn something every day.
So with the salmon, they go north upstream, right? So
those salmon are not in that river, I guarantee you. So Suarez is retired. Mingden would love to have a nice, easy second inning.
So he can lead off the third. He's probably thinking, Dan Slade thinks he's good. He got the 8th place hitter out, but he doesn't know how good I can hit. We look forward to it.
We're going to find out.
That's right. His windup has been impressive. You know, we talk about a lot of the Japanese-born pitchers, how they have that little bit of hesitation. He's got it too. I mean, that's what Tanaka we've seen. Nomo, of course, when he first came over, and Uehara. But
it's not a whole lot different than that.
No, it's not. And when he winds up, it's not smooth. And you watch the hesitation at the top and a little double pump. And here it is right here. See, that's just enough to throw him off, but it didn't throw off Holt.
So Tyler Holt shoots one up the middle for a base hit. Throw comes all the way in right to Mingden.
The motion again. It's his sign and takes the glove up over the head, and then 1, 2, and then he goes. Although when he watches some of the other pitchers, as the ones we just mentioned, he may add that little bit extra to his setup. Right now, what he's doing is no pitcher likes to do, and hitters love it, and that's leave the pitches up on his own a little bit too much.
First pitch is outside to Tucker Barnhart. So 1-0 the count to Tucker Barnhart, the switch hitter. Strike. It's 1-1. Straley, the pitcher, will be next. Swing and a miss. 92 miles an hour from Mingden.
And a good sneaky fastball. Actually, his fastball is impressive to the point that location wise, height down around the knees on the corner. Kind of like Rollie Fingers.
One and 2. And the pitch is foul back into the second level. Here at Great American Ballpark. So 31 pitches for Daniel Mingden so far in his major league debut. Sitting at an early 1-0 lead. Valencia had an RBI single in the first. There's a line shot right back at Mingden. And trying for third is Holt. The throw is there, but it hit Holt, and that helped him get to third base. Boy, it looked like it was a very accurate throw, and that the A's were going to get him, but it hit the runner.
You know, very surprised that it was pushing the envelope because the ball was hit very hard by Barnhart. But going to third, and you're right, Billy Burns came up with it. He threw it to the point that the runner could not go to second, but as the throw came in, it did hit him, and fortunately it stayed close because as it hit him or just hit,
so well he kicked it and then it hit the Valencia's foot.
Yeah, and stayed there because backing up was Mingden, but yeah, it hit him and he was going to be out, but it was just in the line, perfect line really for Holt to get in front of the ball.
So here's Straley, first and third. And he bunts it and he rolls it foul as Holt was coming down the line. Straley does not have a hit this year.
And we saw this in Milwaukee, the same thing with a pitcher bunting and the runner trying to score. And so it's kind of a safety squeeze. Get the ball on the ground and you have to be concerned about the runner coming down from third base. Manaea made a great play in that situation.
I think it's a good move though for the hitting team, because even if the defense makes the play, you get the out at first. Well, then it's first and second, 2 outs, and you've at least taken a shot at trying to get that run home with the pitcher out. Because if you let him swing away, double play really comes into play, and what are the chances of him hitting the deep enough fly ball?
Well, right now we're going to see, although Billy Hatcher going through the signs, and I'm sorry to disappoint the people back home who hear the name Hatcher.
You're not supposed to say his name. That's what I was told when I started working for the A's.
Yeah,
do not say his name.
Mickey or Billy, but you know, he's got to say he's a third base coach. But he's telling Straley to bunt again, more than likely with 2 strikes.
And he squares and he bunts it and it's foul. So Straley had 3 attempts, could not get it done.
And boy, he has practiced enough because he's in the National League and they hit before every game, they bunt before every game, given 3 opportunities to get the ball down, but a good location, a high fastball, and while it's out of the strike zone, if a pitcher goes or a hitter goes after the pitch and tries to bunt, it's hard to get on top of the bunt and get it down and get it fair territory.
So it goes as a strikeout, so second strikeout for Mingden. And here's Zach Cozart. Cozart swung and missed in the first inning, struck out. First pitch, a strike.
You know, just thinking about that play, first and third, it's almost like a bunt and run. And it's a good play. Maybe even the American League to try that kind of a safety squeeze. The important thing is get the ball on the ground. But to see it twice on this road trip in the 2 National League cities.
But don't you think, Ray, if you get the bunt down, most of the time the pitcher's desire is going to be to try to make a play on the runner coming home.
Right.
So it really forces the defense to execute properly.
Exactly.
And if they make it, fine, you get 2 runners on still. If they don't, you get a run.
Absolutely.
And the inning's still going on. Runner goes from first and the ball's fouled back. So 0-2 the count.
And you know, just thinking in hindsight, with Holt going to third base, maybe ill-advised because of the way the ball was hit, but maybe he was thinking along the same lines. Get to third base where they can do that. If he stops at second, Straley would have been forced to sacrifice, get 2 runners second and third, and then hope for Cozart to come through.
So 0-2 to Cozart. And that one rolled toward first. Alonso has it. Side retired. So for the 2nd inning in a row, Daniel Mingden works out of a jam. And there's the Mingden family. It's all good so far. 1-0 A's after 2.
2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot green and gold at athletics.com on your computer, tablet, or your smartphone. Select any A's like Danny Valencia, Chris Davis, Josh Reddick. Vote up to 35 times. Vote today, vote tomorrow. Vote as many times. Vote at athletics.com/vote. We don't want to say vote as many times as you want, but you can vote for vote.
I'd vote for you. If you're on the ballot, I'd vote for you.
Yeah. Only if I turned up my mustache, right?
No, don't mess with that. Don't mess with that thing.
Do you know, daughters Nikki and Lindsay have never seen me without one?
Really?
Never.
I've never seen you without one. From when I met you in the Indians clubhouse in 1976, you had one.
That's right.
Very intimidating. So that's the Migden family, and cell phones are out because this is his first big league at bat. A little bit outside. 1-1 the count. Daniel Migden, big day.
Looks like a hitter, okay.
And that's a pretty good swing. A little late, but a good swing. It's always fun to, well, you see the family, but you also just kind of think about, I mean, it's major league debut, the family, and I mean, this has been a dream of theirs for a long, long time, and here it is. One day. Tomorrow he's just a regular big leaguer. So he strikes out looking there for the first out. But really, there's only one major league debut.
That's right. Exactly right.
And the family's going to enjoy it, and they should.
And for him, it's more of the pitching than it is hitting. You know, for position players, getting your first major league hit. But for Daniel Migden, what he's done already, pitching has been outstanding. First and third and one out, got out of a tough jam. But after he missed the fastball, actually fouled it back, he had that look on his face like, here comes the slider. I've got no chance to see another fastball, and it was a good breaking ball from Straley.
Coco lines one to center. Holt is right there, 2 outs. So Coco, who walked and scored in the first inning, goes after the first pitch here. Well, he hit it right on the nose. So 6 in a row retired by Straley. That stretch of 6 in a row started with the 4-6-3 double play that ended the first inning.
And that
so
ball,
he has settled in nicely.
Ball was hit hard by Alonso, but it happened to be right at their second baseman Phillips. I wouldn't hit a ball near Phillips. I think he's got a pretty good chance of catching everything.
But looking at Straley's starts this year, and this is his 11th start, his first 3 appearances were out of the bullpen. He's allowed 3 runs or less in 9 of his 10 starts, so he really has pitched well. The ERA is decent at 3.34 coming into today. Maybe he's found a home here in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Oh, and Dan Straley was with the A's. I remember talking to him, and he showed me a picture that he carries around in his wallet. Kip, he was over 300 pounds.
Huh, that's amazing.
And I saw him yesterday. I said, do you still have that picture? And he says, you know, I've been doing okay for the Reds, so they posted it in the clubhouse.
Great. Thanks a lot. Oh, good inning, though.
Yeah.
And 7 in a row retired for Dan Straley. Is brought to you by Sonoma Raceway. NASCAR is back at Sonoma Raceway for the Toyota Save Mart 350. It's June 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets today at sonomaraceway.com. So for Daniel Migden, he's going to face the heart of the order: Votto, Phillips, and Bruce. If anybody were to get on, Duvall. So veteran hitters, second time through the lineup. So we'll see how Migden does. See if the Reds use a different approach. They have 3 hits against Migden, but they have stranded 4 in the first 2 innings.
This is where the catcher really is important, because he remembers the pitches he called to the hitters first time through the batting order, and maybe some pitches that Migden has that he hasn't shown them, and this is a time to do it.
Votto lined to single to center in the first inning. Takes a little bit inside. 93 miles an hour on the fastball.
Okay, if you talked last night when Votto was facing Sean Doolittle, and how with 2 strikes he spread out.
Oh man,
shortened up and choked up, and I just Doolittle, he had a smile on his face. He said that was a challenge. He said that was something to see him do what he did with each pitch in the at bat. And then finally on the pitch that he drove to left field, it was as if he said, Doolittle said, he was saying, I'm going to make contact. I'm not going to swing hard. I'm going to make contact and see if you can provide the power and drive the ball. And he almost drove it out to left field.
3-1 to Votto. Votto lays off at a pitch that's a little high, and it's a leadoff walk. And speaking of major league debuts, Ray, you probably remember this. On this date in A's history, Mike Morgan, at the age of 18, makes his major league debut versus the Baltimore Orioles. He pitches a complete game, but he loses 3-0. Of course, Mike Morgan played with a whole bunch of teams, but it all started with the A's at the age of 18. You remember that a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, but I also remember that he lost a lot of games in a season, to the point that it was a record, a dubious one, that he wanted to retain. But
yeah. Well, and in fairness to Mike Morgan, at that point, the A's had pretty much let everybody go, and it was a little bit of a tough stretch for the A's for a handful of years. Down the right field line, long run for Muncy into the corner, and it is a foul ball.
And really kind of a publicity thing. You know, you get drafted and you come right to the big leagues, but it's not good for a player, because in a game of failure, and when you come up at a young age, how do you deal with that? And he spent a lot of time, and fan reaching over, actually just barely at the edge, and made a nice catch.
0-1 the count to Phillips. So that was 1978. So it had a little hint of David Clyde in it. Yeah, Clyde was what, 74, I think?
I was there when Clyde made his debut, and that, I mean, the excitement, well, it wasn't. And the excitement of the fans, they loved it, but poor kid, I mean, he really never came out of it. I mean, Mike Morgan at least had some years to big leagues, and I think he had more stickers on his suitcase than anybody, you know, from different teams, but at least he had some time. But you're right about David Clyde.
Well, I've seen documentaries on the David Clyde where they interview him, and he still gets emotional about it.
Yeah.
And because he pitched in the big leagues for a fair amount of time, but did not have a lot of success.
Exactly.
And easy to look back now, but really very unfair to an 18-year-old who had just graduated from high school.
Exactly.
1973 was when that happened, not 74. But just to do it, just to sell one game's worth of tickets.
Right. No, it's, you know, and there's always concern about, even when a young player comes to big leagues. And I think of Chris Carter, we saw in Milwaukee. I mean, the kid started 0 for 33, and you know, he's come back from it, but some never do.
Simeon has it. He'll hold on to it. Out number 1. Yeah, and Chris Carter, when he got to the big leagues, was 23, 24 years old. He was at 18.
but starting 0 for 33 and wondering, am I ever going to get a hit? And then he sent back to minor leagues, wondering, am I ever going to get a chance to go back? The A's wish he'd stayed after watching him a couple of nights ago. 2 home runs, 5 ribbies for big Chris Carter.
So here's Jay Bruce, who walked in the first inning. Joey Votto, the runner at first. He, by the look of his lead, I don't think he's going anywhere. Although he does have 4 steals in 5 attempts, but he has a very short lead. Shift is on for Bruce. Lots of power. And that one is launched. And I mean launched. To the back of the bleachers for Jay Bruce. And the Reds take a 2-1 lead. Well, he leaned on that one. Home run number 14.
That one had a chance to leave the yard and bounce maybe into the river. Wow. This ball was not cheap. And England knew it was gone. Again, an elevated fastball. Bruce definitely knew it was gone. And if you watch the flight of this ball, watch where it lands, upper part of the right field bleachers.
About 3 rows short of the top. So home run number 14 for Bruce. He now has 44 RBIs, and the Reds have a 2-1 lead. This one's hit in the air towards center by Duvall. Burns shading his eyes, and he's got it for the second out. So Bruce now second in the National League in RBIs behind Nolan Arenado, who has 53. So that's a good list. So Bruce did not have a good year last year, but he's having a terrific year this year. He will strike out some, but he is a run producer. Wow. Somebody's going to get him, I think, and they're going to be pretty happy with that. Oh, 1-1 the count to Eugenio Suarez. And now it's 0-2.
Now for Daniel Minion, he could probably look at it and say, well, if you don't walk Joey Votto, at least it's a solo. And that's same thing happened to Sean Manaea, Chris Carter. Lucroy walked, and Carter hit the first of his 2 home runs.
Suarez goes around, and that is strikeout number 3 for Mignon, but a long home run for Jay Bruce. So the Reds lead 2-1 after 3. Stephen Vogt talking about the wild pitches in the 7th inning last night. Vogt says, quote, "I've got to catch those balls. Sonny has light life on his fastball. Nobody knows that better than me. I have to do a better job. Those pitches cannot get by me." Not easy.
Nope.
Sonny Gray is not easy to catch, and he does have some unpredictable movement where I'm not sure Sonny knows where it's going to dive in or dive out or cut. But Sonny pitched well. 7 2/3 innings. Just a couple of runs, and really just the one inning where a couple of wild pitches hurt him. So the A's now trailing 2-1. It'll be Vogt, Valencia, and Alonso. Dan Straley has retired 7 in a row. Vogt had a double in the 1st inning. The double got runners to 2nd and 3rd, and then Valencia singled them home. So here's the wild pitches in that 7th inning. Ray, what do you think?
Well, a little backhand, and that's what the late movement right there. Stephen knows that in a hanging breaking ball past Valencia, ball probably could have been stopped, was not, and then this fastball got under the catcher's mitt. Stephen Vogt. So those two that he's talking about, the one when the late life really creates the jabbing almost. The first one we saw Stephen tried to backhand the ball, and then the second one just did not put the glove on the ground, and it stayed under and got past him. So those are the two probably that he was referring to. Two big ones, as a matter of fact.
On the ground to the shortstop. So that is out number 1. It's actually Suarez, the 3rd baseman, who was playing the shortstop position.
Well, this is the one slowed down, and Stephen turned his glove properly, but you could see maybe a couple of inches between the glove and the ground, and the ball just under it.
So you think about blocking balls, and I think initially you're thinking, well, a curveball in the dirt, that's
right.
The ball you block. Is a fastball harder to block than a curveball? You obviously have a little less time, right? Reaction time.
Right, but if you go straight down, you go to the ground, it's going to be straight. A breaking ball, if it hits the dirt, is going to change direction. So if a curveball from right-hander is thrown to the outside part of the plate, it's going to spin back the other way. And whereas a fastball, as that one was showed, it's just straight under the glove. And Stephen, the late life that he's talking about, I mean, it's a matter of you almost have to anticipate with somebody. You want him to keep the pitches down low, and at that point you just want to jam the catcher's mitt into the ground. And I think what you see, and unfortunately a lot of catchers, where they talk about blocking, well, the idea is to smother the ball, go to the knees and smother, instead of having that tendency to come up, and when you come up the glove comes with you, and if the ball stays down, that's when you get beat. That's why there's a lot of work that's usually done in trying to block balls in the dirt, because it's an important part of the game. Not easy to work on in practice, but it's definitely important.
And a changeup, 82 miles an hour, and Valencia swings and misses. Well, the troubling thing here, Ray, is that Straley is starting to get locked in.
Yes, he is. Using all of his pitches. Went to the changeup, threw it down and in, and hit a big motion. And a 2-strike changeup is not a pitch that you normally see if a hitter is shortening his swing, but he threw it perfectly the inside part of the plate with some great downward movement.
Alonso takes the ball. Alonso hit into a 4-6-3 double play in the 1st. He did that with runners at 1st and 3rd. Could be a big thing later on in the game. We shall see.
Right.
This game certainly has the feeling of being a tight game.
Well, last night the A's out-hit the Reds, but unfortunately for the A's, they scored 2. The Reds did in 1 inning. 2 balls that Alonso hit. I said, was it top spin? He said, no, I just hit them hard. There was no top spin at all to keep them in the park. They were just line drives, and probably the biggest, the one that went over Bruce's head when Alonso was thrown out at second, and Chris Davis just ended up at third.
So 3-1 the count to Alonso. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for Strelly. That 1 walk was Coco Crisp leading off the game, and he scored. Here's your ball strike. The totals, and there's a strike, 3-2. Infield, yeah, shaded a little bit toward Alonso's pull side, but not a full switch. This one hit high and foul.
Notice how Straley with the left-handers, he did it to Vogt on 3-2. The previous, actually the first hit of the game, or this inning, and hit a ground ball to short. But Straley with the left-handers, he's following behind. He's staying outside. In the case of Steve Steven, might have swung at ball 4 leading off the inning. Slider.
And it just missed. Straley took a step toward the dugout. So that breaks the stretch of 8 in a row retired.
Backdoor slider, and I think Alonso might have been fooled on the pitch, but fortunately got the call.
And here's Marcus Semien, who struck out swinging in the second inning. Semien was 1 for 4 last night, and a single to right field. He's had 9 hits last night, but could just muster the 1 run, and that 1 run was on a home run. Hit hard, fair, down the third base line. Alonso digging for third. Duvall gets to it and gets it in quickly, and Duvall had to pick it up clean, and that is not always easy to do when the ball's in the corner, but he did, and Alonso gets to third and stops there.
Hanging breaking ball. He struck out on a similar slider. This one, once it got past the part of the fence or the stands down the left field line, it got there. Maybe the A's had a chance to score a run, but you're right, Duvall got to it, and at that point he knew that he had to get the ball back in very quickly to keep a run from scoring. That's why a similar ball hit to right field will score a run, but down the left field line it's harder to send a runner because the left fielder can get to the ball quicker and get the ball back in the shortest distance.
So an opportunity for Max Muncy. Muncy takes a fastball outside.
If I'm a pitcher here, I'm looking at this shift. I'm going, you got 2 runners with a base hit to left field. 2 runs are going to score.
Yep.
And there are 3 to the right side against Max Muncy, and enough scouting reports down on him to have the red shift. 3 to the right side. It's a lot of pressure on a pitcher to have to pitch into the overshift.
It's interesting, though, then the 2 pitches that are thrown, the first 2 pitches are outside. Now the last one was a changeup, so you're thinking he's going to roll over on that, but so 2-0 to Muncy, and now 3-0 to Muncy with Burns in the on deck circle.
You know what, Cap, I think in the future we might see in batting practice, and the hitting coaches usually behind and say, you know, bunt 2 to whatever. May get to the point where you see 1 round of hitting to the opposite field.
Sure.
Which all you're doing is concentrating on staying inside the ball and hitting the ball really against the shift. In a case like this where Muncy's hitting, he stays inside, taking all the way in 3-0. That might have been a pitch around.
And I think you're right. And I think it'll be up to Billy Burns.
But
so an opportunity for Burns to make something happen.
Well, and you're right, and hit the ball on the ground. Worst case, be patient enough, and maybe Straley by walking Alonso, pitching around Muncy, and that should be enough for the hitter to say, oh really? So give it your best effort and try to do something. Force at all bases with the walk to Muncy. Cannot pitch carefully to Burns with the pitcher in the on deck circle.
First pitch, and he went around. Kind of tried to hold up, but certainly looks like he ended up taking a swing.
Well, you might as well take it if that's the result. You don't want to put the ball in play with a swing like that.
High with a fastball, 1-1 the count. Burns popped out to the third baseman in the second inning. Alonso, Simeon, and Muncy are the runners. Checks his swing. So now 2-1. So Straley knows he's got to throw it in there. He doesn't absolutely have to, but boy, 3-1, you put all kinds of pressure on yourself if you're the pitcher. And that one is looped towards center field. Holt coming in. He's going to dive, and he caught it. Terrific play by Tyler Holt, and that saved 2 runs. I did not think he was going to get to it. So the A's come up short and leave them loaded. Locally by Energy Upgrade California. Energy tips, rebates, and financing options are available at energyupgradeca.org. Some great statues out in front. In fact, Ray, we walked back to the hotel last night and we saw Johnny Bench statue, and there's Joe Morgan statue. There's a bunch of them out there. Yep. The nice main entrance here into Great American Ballpark. Yeah, the Cincinnati Reds are the oldest professional baseball team ever. They started in 1869. Can you believe that? And when they started, they were the Cincinnati Red Stockings, and that has not changed.
That's right.
So they are oldest professional baseball team.
And that was the reason for many years up until recently that the Major League season started right here in Cincinnati. First game of the season. Dan Straley was talking yesterday about the parade. Yep. Still have it for opener. It's kind of a local holiday. That's opening day in Cincinnati.
The Reds started as a professional baseball team even before the National League started. Reds came in 1869. The National League started in 1876, and obviously they were a charter member of the National League. So the terrific history of baseball here in Cincinnati. Bunted foul. You saw the World Series banners Reds have won it 5 times in their long history. Joe Morgan was part of a couple of them.
Yeah.
Reds Hall of Fame here inside the ballpark. It's very cool. Nice job.
Little Joe.
There they are. 1919, 1940, 75, 76, and 1990.
Well, you mentioned as we look down over the Reds dugout, it starts with 1919, and we know what happens or happened in 1919 with the Chicago White Sox and the Cincinnati Reds. It was called the Black Sox scandal. In 1919, the National League team to play the White Sox, the Cincinnati Reds. So a lot happened as a result of that 1919 series.
Simeon across the diamond. And Tyler Holt is retired. That's right. Little controversy.
Yeah. But the important thing about Holt was playing shallow. Did not break back. And went into dive to save a couple of runs. And pitchers always appreciate it, as Dan Straley did. But Holt got a great jump on a ball that was dying quickly. And Billy Burns had hopes of driving in 2 and coming up with a big 2-out hit. But Holt saved it. Billy Hamilton would have caught it chest high.
Yeah. That one down the left field line. Coco into the corner fighting the sun. He can't see it, and it bounces under his glove and rolls toward the wall. And Tucker Barnhart is going to have a double.
Well, you're right. Coco had it and then looked up right into the sun as the ball was slicing away from him. Watch as he goes after it, and then there's where he lost it. Stuck his glove down, but no chance as he was looking into the sun. It got him, and fortunately it was only a double.
Well, that sun, I mean, quite frankly, as this game goes on, Ray, it's probably not going to get any better in left field.
Now, what we saw last night with a 7:10 start local time, that Duvall, the left fielder, had some difficulty early in the game, which means that at that time, and it's just at 5:30 local time.
Swinging and a miss by Straley. So the corner infielders are playing in. I don't know if this is necessarily a bunt situation.
No, I think this is
one out.
Straley trying to get a hit to drive in a run.
That's why I'm a little surprised the corner infielders are in on the grass.
Yeah, I agree. And
you don't want to be too close where he can shoot it past somebody.
He's not going to bunt. He showed last at bat he can't bunt, or at least was not able to get a bunt down. So this is more of what pitchers look forward to, and that is to be able to swing the bat and try to have a quality bat and drive in a run.
Migden misses outside. 1-2 the count. 64 pitches for Daniel Migden. $19 balls, 45 strikes. That's pretty good. Straley takes strike 3 called, and that is strikeout number 4 for Migden.
But does it count if 2 Campbell gets a pitcher?
I think a half.
Good strike, good pitch, good breaking ball, and just the wrinkle on it. Although I'd say for Migden, if the one thing, if he could lower his slider maybe a foot, he's just kind of leaving him right in the middle of the strike zone, about belt high, and that's creating an opportunity for a hitter to do some damage.
First pitch to Zach Cozart. The bat goes flying toward Valencia. Simeon stays with the baseball and throws out Cozart, side retired. So Barnhart is stranded, and we're on to the 5th. Reds 2, A's 1. Brought to you by Coors, the banquet beer. Game 1 of the 1972 World Series right here in Cincinnati. Gene Tenace was the story.
Yep.
He hit a pair of home runs, became the first player ever to homer in his 2 initial series plate appearances. And later was matched by Andrew Jones of the Braves in 1996. So first 2 at-bats for Gino, gone.
Down the left field line.
See, now if they would have had shifts back then, they would have played Gino the pull, right?
Oh, yeah. He was strong upper body, hit him both the identical location down the left field line.
What a great series that was.
Yeah.
1972, the A's won in 7 games, but you want to talk about a series, and I'm not going to talk about it like I remember it, but if you look back and study the series a little bit, because 6 of the 7 games, Ray, were decided by 1 run.
Yeah.
Think about all the little plays that happened that could have changed the series either way. I mean, it's unbelievable. Joe Rudy makes this great catch in game 2.
Yeah,
I mean, it's how many times the series could have changed either way.
Yeah. Well, this Rudy had this photograph, and it was huge. I think he turned it into a mural, or at least a major frame photograph. That's right. And you know, one of the great photographers in Bay Area history, Doug McWilliams, and what a job he did during that period of time at the park, and he's still, of course, around, but a great photographer. And we were talking about Raleigh Fingers the other night about the different teams he played for. Doug was there when Raleigh changed teams to the Boston Red Sox in '76. He put a uniform on, and there may be only 1 picture of Raleigh in a Boston uniform, and Doug was there to take it.
That was weird.
Very weird. Like the Red Sox were in town, changed clubhouses, and if they had played a game or had 1 pitch, who knows what would have transpired. But Bowie Kuhn said no at the time and put the A's uniform back on.
Well, the A's won the first 2 games of that World Series here in Cincinnati by scores of 3-2 and 2-1. So they're going back to Oakland, up 2 games to none, and boy, they had to be feeling good. But the Reds won game 3 1-0. And like, this is a perfect example, Ray. Game 4, A's are up 2 games to 1. The Reds are leading 2-1 going to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the A's score 2 and win. So they're 3 outs away from having the series tied 2 games apiece. Bruce grabs the line drive. I mean, just think of how important that 1/2 inning, the bottom of the 9th, was.
Is that when they used all the pinch hitters?
I think so, yeah. So Hall of Famers all over the place. Of course, Sparky Anderson was the manager. Gene Tenace ended up hitting 4 home runs. Last time an AL team won a World Series, Game 7 on the road. Wow. And there's the player shares. 20,000 for the A's. Little pop-up, broken bat. Suarez has it, and Straley has a very nice 5th inning. We'll talk more about the 1972 World Series when we come back. 2-1, Reds lead the A's. We're reminiscing about the 1972 World Series, and A's won it in 7 games, but this may be the most famous play of that entire World Series. Tell me what's going on here, Ray.
Well, Johnny Bench, the hitter, Dick Williams, first pitch out and intentionally walking Raleigh through a perfect slider. Johnny took off to first, strike 3.
That's
See, tennis.
beautiful.
And basically, Dick was telling those two, he said, pointing to first base, like, put him on, put him on. So Bench is standing at the plate. And by the way, Johnny Bench still hates Raleigh Fingers to this day. But there's only one pitcher who probably could have thrown a perfect strike, and it's Raleigh. He threw a slider on 3-2. Tennis put his hand out like intentional walk, stepped back behind the plate, threw a perfect strike.
To hang with him is what it is.
Johnny was not happy. And, of course, both in the Hall of Fame now, Raleigh and Bench. And Raleigh said every time they see him, Bench gets upset with him. And especially when Johnny just threw his bat like he's going to first base and the umpire called him out.
0-1 to Joey Votto. 0-2 to Joey Votto.
Votto on base a couple of times today. Base hit in the first. Walk in the third. There's the Hall of Famer Johnny Bench, his number retired. He was the complete catcher. Could hit, 40 home runs plus, the MVP, plus an outstanding catcher defensively.
1-2 the count to Joey Votto.
I think somebody said it best that maybe there's a better defensive catcher by himself but couldn't hit.
Sure.
Maybe a better hitter.
Yeah, the whole package.
But to have the whole package as Bench did. And you know, I mean, you're talking about history of catchers, but at that time, there's nobody better than Johnny Bench. I mean, anytime you put your hand out and you hold 5 baseballs in the hand with the palm down, that's a big hand.
He finished his career playing third base.
Yeah.
We do want to show you some of the great moments from that World Series. And we mentioned how in Game 4 the A's scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. And who knows, that may have changed the whole series around right there, because the A's were 3 outs away from being tied 2-2, and they end up going up 3-1 at home. There's a line drive, left field. Coco grabs it, but it was the pinch hitters. That was the story in the bottom of that 9th inning, right, Ray?
And, you know, the real reason for that is that the A's, Gonzalo Marquez with the first pinch hit, a high chopper. Don Mitcher is going to be the next one. He's going to get a pinch hit. And then Angel Manguel is going to top it off. As here's Cookie. Angel Manguel, center fielder, base hit. See the football lines?
That's it. That's your ball game.
That's it. Torrengino, Mike Epstein, first baseman.
So names that you just don't hear a lot when you think about A's history, but how important were those 3 hits?
Yeah, they were. And one of the things too is, as I started to say, when you had a 4-man rotation, you had 4 pitchers, 4 starters. The A's really had 8 to 9, I think 9 total pitchers. That's 16 position players, which means that you could pinch hit 3 guys, still have plenty of guys left on the bench.
So just another 1-run game in that series.
Just another 1-run game. Well, you know, 73-74 kind of the same in both the league championship and the World Series. They were all low-scoring games, but you know, it was almost as if Catfish would say, or they'd say to Catfish, "How many you need today, Cat?" He says, "Give me 2." So they give him 2, and it went 2-0 or 2-1. Same with Holtzman, Vida, Blue Moon, any of them. It's like scored just enough to win games because of great pitching and defense.
1-2 pitch to Phillips, swing and a miss, struck him out. So strikeout number 5 for Migden.
This kid's been impressive. Migden, the 2-run home run, but a high fastball, and really now going a little bit more with the fastball. He's throwing sliders, changeups, curveballs, 2-seamers, but there's an elevated 4-seam fastball, 3rd time through the batting order.
Here's Jay Bruce, big 2-run homer in the 3rd. And in Game 5 of that World Series, the A's had a 4-3 lead after 7 innings, and they're thinking, we're going to celebrate at home.
Yeah.
And the Reds scored 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th and beat the A's to extend the series. So the A's were thinking, this is going to be fun. But the Reds won it, and then on to Cincinnati, where The Reds won a blowout in Game 6, but then Game 7, a 3-2 A's win. What a surprise. That's the way. I mean, it's Game 7, so it's got to be a one-run game.
Of course.
Bruce takes low, 2-1.
And let's not forget, in the 72 League Championship Series, which at the time it was a 5-game series, Reggie Jackson on a 1st and 3rd blew out his hamstring. He didn't even play in the World Series. And that's why 73 was his first year in the World Series. And he was kind of saying, all right, guys, let's go back again in 73 because I didn't get to play in 72. And was the MVP in 73. Mr. October, it's when it began.
Two to Bruce. A little bit low now, full count. But for whatever it means, and I don't know that it means anything, but I think the Reds were probably favored in that series.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, they had a terrific team, and they had been to the World Series in 1970, but not to be.
Well, this was not in 72. This was today. This is Jay Bruce, way deep in right field. And for Daniel Minion, who could say, I gave up a home run, it was not a cheap one.
And Bruce lays up. So we're going to wrap it up with the final out of the 1972 World Series. It's our McDonald's True Story. Pete Rose at the plate. It's a fly ball to left field, and Joe Rudy will let you know.
Yep.
So great video.
That's a great. Charlie Finley, Dick Williams, their wives on top of the dugout.
And I bet the Reds fans were just thrilled to see Charlie with his green jacket on, standing on top of the dugout. That's very funny.
Yeah, it was.
You don't want to do it inside the dugout or out in front of the dugout. You need to get on top of the dugout.
Well, his seats were front row, right behind the dugout. He'd wave his flag or his banner and be decked out in the green and gold. And so all he'd do is just step up on the dugout.
Yeah, it wasn't a far drive from Chicago either, right?
That's right.
Or from Indiana, I should say.
Oh, wow.
Huge jump for Bruce, and he'll steal it without a throw. Mingden may have forgot about Bruce just a little bit.
Well, all he had to do is look a second time. One time maybe, but once he did not, and Bruce just took off even before Mingen released the baseball.
So 1-1 the count to Duvall. Duvall rolls it foul, bounces off the facing of the A's dugout. A's dugout is still in the sunshine. The Reds, they're in the shade.
That's the home field advantage.
That's a definite home field advantage. Pitch number 87 coming up from Migden. There's a line drive. Simeon dives, and he caught it. Saved a run. The Migden strands a runner, and we're headed to the 6th inning from Cincinnati. 2-1, Reds lead. On top of the 6th inning on a hot day here in Cincinnati. So the A's trying to come back. And Stephen Vogt will lead it off. Straley, 81 pitches through 5 innings.
And that play made by Marcus Semien in this morning, and it was hot. And I say morning, maybe 11:30. Marcus Semien was out with Ron Washington in the heat here in Cincinnati, working as he always does. So to make a play like that actually saved a run, like you said, because Bruce was able to walk to second base. And a 2-out line drive, but Marcus Semien, a great diving effort, saved a run.
Now 3-0 to Stephen Vogt.
Marcus has set a great example this year for a lot of infielders to and around the league to see how much he has improved, and everybody wants to know how. Well, it's called working. He's working at it every day, and it's showing. Max Muncy, playing right field, has also been one of the students under Ron Washington, making sure his infield skills stay okay.
And now 3-2.
Washington sunflower seeds, back pocket full.
Vogt shoots one just foul.
And here's a play we're talking about, and this is headed to left field, but Marcus Semien a dive. And you think about what he does on this play. Before this year, he had never done this, and that's leave his feet. That says a lot about a professional shortstop, and Marcus Semien, the improvement has been phenomenal. To give him credit for the amount of work he's put in with Ron Washington.
Well, you spend about a minute talking to Marcus Semien, and you realize what a nice young man he is, and you can't help but pull for him.
Yeah.
That one is driven toward left center. Duvall, step in front of the warning track, makes the catch, 1 away.
Fans, if you're looking for the perfect place to host your annual company party, check out the A's East Side Club. The East Side Club accommodates up to 1,200 guests and includes a pregame catered meal and game ticket. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's, or you can visit athletics.com/BBQ.
There's the sunshine that, well, anybody who's playing left field and center field as well is going to be looking up into. Valencia had the RBI hit in the 1st inning, and he has struck out. So 1 for 2. The Rays are leading the Astros 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Rays won last night 4-3. There's a shot towards center. Holt hustling in again, and he makes the catch. Now the Holt got a pretty good jump on that. If he doesn't make the play.
Well, Mr. Holt is an example of what we have been talking about. Daniel Mingden today doing it also, but you get an opportunity. Billy Hamilton on a 7-day concussion disabled list. Holt getting a chance to play. It's proven he can handle some center field, aggressive on the base pass, swing the bat well. Sometimes that's all it takes for somebody to get a chance to show what he can do.
He's not going to get this one as it drops in front of him, and Alonso has a hit. Hit number 4 for the A's.
Trying again to do it with 2 outs. This time a good swing by Alonso going to the opposite field, an off-speed pitch. But Holt deciding, if I try to make a spectacular play, puts a runner in scoring position instead of conceding a base hit with 2 outs. Got to be a little bit smart too in your play defensively. Know when to go for a baseball.
Marcus Semien, a strikeout and a double. First pitch is outside. The Rangers and the Mariners will go at it again tonight in Seattle. Mariners won last night 7-5. So big series over the weekend up in Seattle. Colby Lewis tonight for Texas. James Paxton for the Mariners. In the air, down the right field line. Bruce hustling over, and he's going to have just enough room in fair territory, and he makes the catch. Side retired. A hit and a runner left. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Reds 2, A's 1. For Daniel Migden as he is back out there, and so far got everything tightened up before the game. 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. The only damage, a very, very long home run by Jay Bruce. That was in the 3rd inning. He's back to work, trailing 2-1.
Well, and it's his time due 3rd in this next inning, the 7th inning. This is an important inning for him to get through the 6th inning, and probably the bullpen. They have a pinch hitter for him, possibly. We'll see what happens. But this is a big inning as he tries to get the Reds out, as they have the bottom 4 of their batting order.
Facing Suarez, Holt, and Barnhart.
Cap, you mentioned about the Reds dugout in the shade now while the A's in the sun, but look at the bullpens. The A's down in the right field corner in the shade.
That's true.
And left center field. The Reds bullpen there, so they've had to endure themselves to the sun all day.
So pitch number 90 coming up. Suarez. I think Suarez likes to pull the ball, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
Just by watching him for a game and a half.
How about an uppercut pull?
It's funny though, you watch him hit and he looks like he wants to pull, but the A's are playing him on the infield straight up.
Yeah.
So we're just basing this off the way he has swung in this series. Shadows are creeping in. One more inning and they'll be probably between home plate and the pitcher's mound, and that makes it very difficult. Center field, and that will drop in for a hit. So Eugenio Suarez with a leadoff single. 6 hits now. You see who's here this weekend, Ray?
The big boy.
The Milwaukee Mauler. Look at him. See, he looks different because he got his hair cut.
Got his hair cut, got a little goatee, a little silver goatee, got his nice shades.
He looks a lot different.
And of course the A's are in the field, so he has his cap on, and we'll see him when the A's hit. He put his helmet on. Got his son next to him, to the left of him, to our right. How about the jersey?
That's a sweet jersey.
Yeah, that's the Kansas City Athletics vest. See, that's the kind of vest that the Reds used when Big Clue, Ted Kluszewski, was here, and his arms were so big he had to cut those sleeves, man. They were so huge.
So you can tell the Mauler's a big guy, right? I mean, he was a professional wrestler, and he went under the name of the Milwaukee Mauler. So he's a big guy. You want him on your side. Now, what he needs is he needs a little more room in that section, because His left shoulder is in front of his son, but the guy on the right is squeezing him. Even the guy on the right's leaning a little bit.
Oh, Vida true.
You gonna tell me you wouldn't want the Milwaukee Mauler in your corner if things started to head toward a problem?
See, so the problem with that jersey that Mauler has on, it should just say Vida.
Yeah.
Not blue, but just Vida.
Or Mauler.
Well, yeah, if Mauler can wear it or wants to wear it, he can wear it any way he wants to.
And you know what's funny? He's a big A's fan who lives in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see him in Cleveland.
Yeah.
He's this big, intimidating guy, and he is one of the nicest, most gentle guys you'll ever meet.
Usually the bigger they are, the nicer they are, except you don't want to mess with them.
1-1 the count. So action now in the A's pen. Dull on the left, Zepchinski on the right.
Dull's ready. With Dull in this weather, all he had to do is stand up.
Well, that's true.
You know, when he came into Milwaukee, came in a game, we didn't even know he was warming up. He said, I threw 2. He said, I was ready.
1-1 to Holt. Six hits for the Reds, 4 hits for the A's. There has not been an error in the game. A's play Holt toward right center in the outfield. It's hit that way. Muncy comes in. Muncy has it. So that is out number 1, and here's Tucker Barnhart. So the A's will wrap up this road trip tomorrow with a day game here in Cincinnati, and then head home for a nice long homestand. Boy, it is a busy time in Bay Area sports. In the next couple days, it's going to be very busy. Tomorrow, the Sharks will play Game 6 in San Jose. Of course, the Sharks down 3-2 in that series, so they have to win to extend the series. That's tomorrow night. The Giants and the Dodgers are in San Francisco. They will play the night game tomorrow. Then Monday, it's even worse. Monday, of course, the Warriors have a chance to win the NBA title in front of the home fans. Game 5 Monday at Oracle. We will be right next door at the Coliseum. The Warriors game starts at 6. A's Rangers start at 7. And the Giants are home at AT&T Park. So that's what's going on Monday night. So it's quite a stretch. There's a giant soccer tournament at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. So good luck to the Sharks. They have to win, and good luck to the Warriors, who won a huge game last night. And hard to imagine them losing on Monday, but you never know. They're up 3-1 in the series, so they're in a terrific spot. Barnhart takes a close pitch, and now it's 3-0.
Now Dan Straley's the on-deck circle, but he was in the dugout. Actually, Brian Price told him to get a helmet, get in the on-deck circle. There is a pinch hitter ready to come up and be in the on-deck circle. Straley will not hit, and I think he was finished anyway. But Brian Price just wants him in the on-deck circle to show Bob Melvin and the A's that it is the pitcher next, although there is somebody down on the staircase with a helmet and a bat ready. Actually, he was ready to go out in the on-deck circle.
So the Reds have action in their bullpen.
There's the pinch hitter.
A.J. Morris. That's Kyle Waldrop.
Yeah. And he was standing there ready to come out, and Brian Price said, no, you stand there, and Dan Straley go out. So it's a little bit of a ploy by the manager just to say that he's scheduled next hitter, but more likely he is not going to hit.
Missed outside, and there's the walk. 2 on and 1 out.
I guess he is going to hit.
Right at 100 pitches for Migden.
So maybe he was there and had Barnhart made it out. Maybe there would have been a pinch hitter because Waltrip was there. And so Straley, more than likely, will assume he's going to be sacrificing. But one thing Daniel Coulomb said, he said it's a different league, American League versus the National League. And, you know, this is one of the things with the pitcher. You normally would not have a hitter bunting with one out, runners at first and second, but a pitcher you would.
Straley pulls the bat back and the pitch is outside.
Cap, I guess Brian Price feels that Dan Straley's pitching well enough to go back out for the 7th.
Well, let's not forget about the bullpen problems.
Yeah, good point.
Suarez is the runner at second, Barnhart at first. See, the A's will have some type of bunt play defense on. And Straley had a good pitch to bunt. It was really a fastball right down the middle. Looks like he's, even when he does bunt and make contact, he still kind of pulls the bat back. We noticed that when he bunted foul 3 times in the 4th inning. You really just want to keep the bat out there.
Yeah, kind of jabbing at it instead of.
Even there, you see he kind of bunts at it, but then he pulls the bat back, and you really just want to hold it out there and let him make contact.
Just a simple execution, sacrifice. That's all managers want out of a pitcher. Unless the case of Adam Wainwright last night, pinched hit, drove in 2 runs with a double.
I saw that. In what, the 13th inning?
Yeah.
Alonso thought about third. He'll go to second. So Straley, in his last attempt, he gets it down. So he did his job. Had to work for it.
Well, looks like Ryan Dull, who has been perfect with inherited runners, and at least he was warming up with Subchinski, and the young man Minga did a very good job. Outstanding job, and all the guys pat on the back, and he can be very proud of his major league debut.
And the family's happy, and I'm sure the A's are happy as well. So nice job at Daniel Mingden. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. It's your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
Giants games of 2016 at the Oakland Coliseum, when the Cross Bay rivals square off June 29th and the 30th. The A's look to continue their winning ways against the Giants, having captured 2 of the last 3 season series. These interleague showdowns are always some of the most popular games of the year, so get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets.
Second and third, 2 outs, and Dull to face Zach Cozart. Fastball for a strike. 5 2/3 innings for Daniel Migden, 6 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Cozart gets jammed, and he's behind in the count 0-2. 1-1 with a 2.53 ERA, so good numbers across the board for Dull. But even more important is the fact that he has not allowed an inherited runner to score, and this is a big spot here. 2 are out there, both in scoring position in a 1-run game. Fastball is high at 92 miles an hour. So 24 inherited runners Dull has had coming into a game, and none have scored. And he continues the streak as Cozart strikes out, and 2 more runners stranded for the Cincinnati Reds. 7th inning coming up, 2-1 Reds. Your baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Check this out. Longest serving active general managers or presidents. Now, it's not with one team. It's just how long they've been in that position, whether it be with one team or, in Dave Dombrowski's case, 4 teams. Walt Jocketty. He's been a GM for 21 years with a couple of different teams. Sandy Allerson's on there. Brian Sabean, Billy Beane, and Brian Cashman. They've all done it with just one team. Dombrowski was with the Marlins and the Expos and the Tigers and now the Red Sox.
I mean, Jocketty, Cardinals, Rockies, Cardinals, Cincinnati, assistant in Oakland.
2-1. The Reds lead. It is the top of the 7th inning. Straley's been good. Facing Muncy, Burns, and then the pitcher spot. A's have 4 hits. They've stranded 5 through 6 innings. In for a strike, off-speed pitch, 1-2.
You know what, Brian Price showing a confidence in his pitcher. Of course, Straley getting the button down, which helped, but also confidence enough of him to send him back out to pitch the 7th inning. Brian Price, as we had mentioned, the pitching coach for Bob Melvin, a couple of different teams, Arizona and Seattle. Came here with Dusty Baker, who is now with the Nationals, and took over as manager for the Reds.
Once he hits it hard, Phillips stays with it. And that is out number 1 here in the 7th inning. And Billy Burns will hit. So with Daniel Migden pitching today, Kendall Graveman is going to pitch tomorrow. And then Sean Manaea on Monday. Sonny Gray is scheduled for Wednesday. So on Tuesday, Ray, the A's will need a starting pitcher.
Right. You available?
I can't go.
Okay. Not enough time to work
No,
out?
impingement, shoulder impingement. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
We'll have to either bring somebody up, or is there somebody on the roster? I guess Zach Neal could be a possibility. He's in the bullpen.
He started in Seattle the one game, and it was his first major league game started.
So when we find out who is pitching on Tuesday, we'll let you know. But Graveman tomorrow, and then Sean Manaea on Monday when the Texas Rangers come for 4. Burns pops it up. Cozart backpedaling, shading his eyes. Now Duvall coming in. He's shading his eyes as well, and he makes the catch. So 2 away here in the 7th inning.
Now fans celebrate Father's Day at the ballpark. Log on to athletics.com/tickets. Use coupon code DAD to receive $10 off field level tickets to see the A's take on their AL West rivals, the Los Angeles Angels. Discounted Father's Day tickets are subject to availability. So make plans today, right now, to treat Dad to an afternoon of baseball on Sunday, June the 19th. Big Mauler father.
He's got the helmet on.
Yes, he does. Got to have the ear flap. I can't see him in an ear flap, though. He's pre-ear flap. He's grandfathered in. Chris Davis brought up, and normally you save a power hitter for maybe somebody on base, but the A's are down 1 run thanks to some outstanding pitching being done, as well as Ryan Dull. And the A's, Bob Melvin, trying to put the number 15 instead of the 14 with 1 swing of the bat. And that would tie the game. Something the A's have been trying to do since the first inning, when they had a chance to have a crooked number. A couple of lefties, Sapczynski, who was up earlier, and Sean Doolittle. Can't remember, Kai, if this is a 3-mound bullpen or just a 2.
Good question. It's a very fair question.
Yeah, Cleveland has 3. Some of the newer. There's 1, 2. I don't know, 1 to our right. But at least you see 2. Normally you don't see more than 2 warming up.
Davis lines one toward left, and that'll get down for a hit. Duvall cuts it off. So a pinch hit single for Chris Davis.
Saturday in Houston, Chris Davis on the left elbow by Scott Feldman, and that sent the tingling down into his fingers. And then last night again, he did have some padding, and Kaipe said at least the padding helped, but he felt it. See the little padding on the left elbow. So another 2-out hit for the Athletics, something they've done pretty consistently today, except for the first inning when they had the leadoff walk. Coco scored, but since then it's been more 2-out, even in the 4th inning when they loaded the bases.
First pitch is a ball to Coco Crisp, so he'll get a quick meeting. 106 pitches for Straley. His season high is 112. He's gone over 100 pitches 3 times in his first 10 starts. So this is his 4th time. He's walked 3 and he has struck out 5.
And looking out and seeing the pitcher Dan Straley now still in the sun, while the first baseman hitter are in the shadows. But days like today are days that you're happy you work hard and you're in shape, because you need the endurance to pitch this deep in a game. Usually it becomes a matter of having strong legs, your lower foundation. Your arm probably is always going to be in shape, but National League, where you hit, you hope to be on the base paths, but just every inning going out, and especially in the heat and humidity.
Davis not going anywhere at first, and Coco hits one down the left field line. Foul. Coco has walked, and then he scored in the first, and he is lined out to center, and he is lined out to right. He's 2 for 7 in the series. So Straley now pitch number 109 coming up. Sometimes you see a pitcher when he starts to get a little tired, he slows down as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Davis runs, and the ball's grounded right to Phillips, who scoops it up. Phillips on to first, and that will do it for the A's. So we have reached the 7th inning stretch from Cincinnati. It's the Reds 2 and the A's 1.
California is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
Well, another low-scoring game. We've seen the A's play a lot of those lately. Not a lot of offense. Reds leading 2-1 when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. It's your oil change, tune-up, and repair expert. So Mark Zepchinski comes in, has an ERA of 3.48. And he's going to face Votto, Phillips, and Bruce. So a couple of left-handed hitters and a right-handed hitter. So Ryan Dull goes a third of an inning, gets a strikeout after Migden went 5 2/3. First pitch is a strike in the outside corner to Votto.
So Ryan Dull now at 24 for 24. Perfect with inherited runners, and now Bob Melvin has liked him since last September, and even more so this year, bringing him in these key situations. That was a big one for Ryan Dull to get out of last inning, leaving 2 runners on base, 2 in scoring position. So Zepchinski comes on to try to keep them where they are right now, just trailing by 1 with a couple more at bats for the A's.
A little bit inside. Votto has faced Zepchinski 11 times. So 4 for 11 against him.
Mark Zepchinski said, well, you've been here a lot. He said, a lot, because he was with the Cardinals and they play the Reds in the same division. He might have even come down. I don't know if he'd come down on Thursday night, off night, to see some of his former teammates, but Cardinals were in town through Thursday.
Lowry, he's got it, throws, and Alonso digs it out. Nice play on both ends. And Votto has a hit taken away. So 1 away here in the 7th.
A nice effort, and ball hit it into right field. Lowry getting the jump and then going down to the ground and throwing Fortunately, unlike Phillips last night, Lowry, as he went to the ground and as his momentum was carrying him away from the bag, able to throw on the bounce. Nice scoop by Alonso. Last night, Phillips made a similar play, rolled over, couldn't get the ball cleanly into his hand. And the A's had an infield hit, but Yonder Alonso continues his play at first base.
Brandon Phillips taken all the way, and it's a strike. Phillips is 0 for 3 today. 1 for 6 in the series. Lofts this one towards center. Burns gets back there. So Votto and Phillips retired here in the 7th inning, and now Jay Bruce will hit. Astros and the Rays tied 2-2 in the top of the 8th. Down in St. Petersburg. Astros have lost 4 out of 5. They're trying to get to that 500 mark. So they were tough on the A's, but since then they've won just 1 time. Strike to Bruce. It's the lefty Tony Cingrani who got the save last night. Bruce lofts one down the third base line into the seats. Indians and Angels will play again tonight in Anaheim. Bauer for Cleveland, Shoemaker for the Angels. The Angels have lost 5 in a row. Swing and a miss, and a very nice inning for Mark Zepchinski. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout and a little help from the defense. 8th inning coming up. NBC Sunday night. Sharks and the Penguins play Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Then after the game, go to CSN California for Sharks Playoff Central. Don't miss a moment of the Sharks Stanley Cup journey. Penguins lead that series 3-2. Again, that's tomorrow night. Reds 2, A's 1, and it's the top of the 8th inning. So the Reds go to the bullpen when it's time for a change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair expert. So we saw Tony Cingrani last night, but we saw him in the 9th inning. He got the save. He threw the ball well. Today, he's out here in the 8th inning. He turns Jed Lowry around to hit right-handed.
Well, he can either go 2 innings or the 8th inning. We'll see what happens, what Brian Price decides.
Well, it helps to get 1 out on 1 pitch. So Cingrani takes over for Dan Straley, who had another good outing. 5 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. And Australia has really done a nice job for the Reds this year.
Let him off the hook in the first inning.
Yep, and a little bit in the 4th, although that was a 2-out rally.
But the first golden opportunity, and one of the problems the A's have had, especially in this losing streak, is the lack of a crooked number. Crooked number being more than 1. They put up a few picket fences with 1s, but they need to do the crooked number, and they had a chance the first inning. But Straley got the double play when it needed it. And the bullpen can hang on. He'll be happy to beat his former team.
Vogt chases a pitch down and away, and it's quickly 0-2. Vogt a double, a ground out, and a fly ball to left. Valencia to follow. The 2-pitch. Slider down and away. The Royals beat the White Sox 4-1, so the Royals snap an 8-game losing streak. Boy, they were really struggling. Royals had such a good month of May. They won 17 games in the month of May, but June, not so. But they did win today.
Well, it's been a long time, but you think back to what the Cubs are doing this year and what the Tigers did in '84, starting the season 35-5, and then continuing that throughout the season. To put together consecutive months and winning months.
Yep.
Wire to wire. Cubs have done that.
Line drive. Duvall right there. He's got it. No, the A's not hitting into a whole lot of luck today either. They've had some line drive outs. Sort of the way it's going right now for the offense.
Last night, a lot of fly balls to the warning track by both teams.
Yep.
Today, one missed the warning track and almost left the building, and that was Jay Bruce, and that's the difference in the game. A's have had 1 walk score. That was the leadoff walk to Coco. And the Reds, 1 of the 4 walks scored, but that was in front of the 2-run home run.
See, Valencia can get into one. He has singled in a run, struck out, and hit a fly ball to center field. There's a strike. Blue Jays beat the Orioles 11-6 in Toronto, so for the 2nd straight game the Blue Jays beat the first place Orioles. Toronto's starting to move a little bit. They're just 3.5 games back now. Kind of what they did last year, although they waited even a little bit longer into the season to get rolling, did the Blue Jays. But once they got rolling, they just could not be stopped. Valencia swinging and a miss on a fastball up and away. So 2-2 to the A's third baseman.
Got Valencia shaking his head a little bit, and I don't know if the pitcher standing in the sun and the sun in Sangrani's face, but can't have Valencia in the shadows. A little bit difficult to pick up the spin of the baseball, maybe. But down on one, go to the knee to catch a ball up over your head. Usually you kind of stand up, but Barnhart, a little smile on his face, able to corral a high fastball.
Three-two pitch, fastball, 95, and Valencia swings and misses. Sangrani a 3-up, 3-down inning, bottom of the 8th coming up. Reds 2, A's 1.
is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 1-5-0 for the A's, 2-6-0 for the Reds. Daniel Mignon did a good job in his major league debut, pitched into the 6th inning. Dan Straley, 7 strong innings. And the big blow today, a 2-run homer by Jay Bruce. That was in the 3rd inning. The A's scored their run in the 1st on Valencia's RBI single. So a little bit of a struggling A's offense right now, so they're asking a lot out of their starting pitchers. Sonny Gray was good last night. Mignon good today, but A's are trailing 2-1. So John Axford comes in. 4th pitcher of the game for the A's. It'll be Duvall, Suarez, and Holt here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Duvall is 0 for 3 in the game. Good swing there, fouls it straight back. Fly ball to right, fly ball to center, and then he lined to short. Simeon made a diving play, and it saved a run. Duvall has 15 doubles to go along with his 17 home runs. He's not going to walk a lot, and he has struck out a fair amount. He has only walked 7 times in 200 at-bats, and he has struck out 61 times.
And if he gets another 96-mile-an-hour fastball about letter high, he may strike out again. Axford has the good high fastball. Of course, a great 12-6 curveball, something that a lot of pitchers do not throw.
Count is even at 2-2. And he chased that high heater. You're not going to get to that one. So that's 8 strikeouts for A's pitchers.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to AtBat Premium, #1 app for live baseball, blackout, and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
So 1 away. Here's Eugenio Suarez. Suarez singled in the 6th inning, so he is 1 for 3. 2 for 6 in the series. A little bit high with a fastball. 2-0 the count.
Well, Solendorf looks like he may be pitching the 9th, guy. That would be interesting. And a little bit of what we saw when Ryan Madson pitched the 8th game and Sean Doolittle the 9th.
Well, it's interesting. Alonso, Simeon, Muncy are your scheduled hitters. The A's do have right-handed hitters on the bench, and I'm saying that if you were to leave Cingrani in the game.
Yeah, I was kind of along those lines as well, because Butler's there, Smolinski, Fagley. Yep. Smolinski, a big pinch hit last night off Cingrani.
So we'll see what happens in the 9th inning. Cingrani did not throw a lot of pitches in the top of the 8th. Missed outside, and it's a 1-out walk. So that's the 5th walk A's pitchers have allowed tonight. Attendance today here at Great American Ballpark. Nice crowd, 32,034. Most of them are in the shade. See, that's the sun, so there's less people on the third base side of the stadium. Over there, better.
Left field, bad.
Left field, you are just baking.
It's like right field in Anaheim.
That's exactly right. There's 2 levels out there in left field. There's an upper deck in left field, and you are cooking out there.
Matter of fact, if you're in left field today, you've been in the sun all day.
You've been, and you know what? There is no relief in sight unless you're in the top level right under the scoreboard. And you're getting partial relief.
That is, wow.
You know what? I love baseball. I could not sit out there in the sun for 3.5 hours. I couldn't do it.
And that's if you come at game time. if you want to get in your seats
I don't
early,
think I could do it.
Maybe to watch a little BP. Maybe the only thing that would save those people out there is a couple of bags of kettle corn.
Well, yeah, kettle corn today. Nice hot kettle corn.
Big fan.
Oh, tastes good with humidity and 95-degree weather. Forget ice cream. Give me kettle corn today. Although last night, Ray, when we walked out, that kettle corn stand had your name written all over it.
You know what's in my bag right now?
Attaboy. You would steal that young lady.
I got my own.
Good for you.
You know, they have a mixture.
Good,
they have a mixture.
Wow.
They have a bag of kettle corn and a bag of caramel corn, or you can get a mixture.
What'd you get?
Mixture.
Attaboy.
I was going to get one of each, but decided to just go to the mixture.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to go to dinner after the game, but I know what the answer would be because you have your bag of kettle corn.
You know, when we had that aroma during the game last night, I was told that where they do the kettle corn, there's this pipe that once they start cooking, it just goes straight up and then spreads out throughout the stadium.
Well, I think it comes right into here.
Into here, it goes out. I think that's what entices people to go buy a lot of it, just because of the smell.
Holt swings and misses. 98 miles an hour from Axford.
Did you hear that speedboat going north up the river?
Yeah, sounded like Axford's fastball.
That was a good fastball, and that was an NC, no chance. That was a upper 90s, and perhaps Holt couldn't see it, and it is possible because he swung like I had no idea where the ball was, except it sounded like a strike when it passed me.
So with 2 outs, Tucker Barnhart hits for the 4th time.
Well, it's going to be the same tomorrow, just a 3-hour earlier start.
So we'll look forward to that cool, comfortable weather at the Coliseum for the night games. Tucker Barnhart has not been retired. Single, double, and a walk. Runner was going, and he pops a foul into the upper deck. Tomorrow's pitching matchup will be Kendall Graveman and John Lamb. John Lamb is a left-hander.
The only one on the staff, actually, besides Cingrani out of the bullpen, but the only one the A's will see from the starter. Cingrani we've seen last night and today.
So the 0-2. Swinging and a miss, blew it right by him at 97 miles an hour. Impressive inning for Axford. Strikes out 3, walks 1. Last shot for the A's, trailing 2-1.
Friday, June the 17th. Join us for baseball movie fireworks presented by Ray Morgan Company. After the game against the Angels, our famous fireworks show will be set to music from classic baseball movies, including the natural Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and more. There is no better way to kick off summer than with Ace Baseball and fireworks together. So visit athletics.com/fireworks today. Should be fun at the Coliseum. A week from last night, the A's home on Monday for a 4-game series against the Rangers, followed by 3 against the Los Angeles Angels.
When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. It's Ross Ohlendorf, who has 1 save in his career. And it was last year, and he did it for the Texas Rangers.
And you saw that 1 in the blown save. Trying to make it 2.
First pitch to Alonso is high. So Ross Ohlendorf will face Alonso, Simeon, and Muncy. And after Muncy, it would be Burns.
And the old-time windup. But the one thing, Kipe, you know, in the past, when you see this kind of windup, you have the pitcher with the ball in his hand. Ohlendorf puts the ball in his glove, so he positions the ball in his glove for the pitch that he wants. And as he winds up, his hand is empty. The ball is in his glove right there, and as it gets to there, he kind of hesitates to make sure he has the right grip and then lets it go. At one time, if a pitcher did that, or the old windup with the ball in the hand, sometimes they would turn it to the side one way or the other. Ball's in the glove there, so nothing in his hand. He's not tipping his pitches, but as he goes in, he gets the grip of the baseball and then lets it go.
2-1 pitch is rolled foul. Now it's 2-2. Ohlendorf was with the Royals in spring training. On the 23rd of March, he was released by Kansas City, and then soon after that, he signed with the Cincinnati Reds.
Darren Bush, the A's hitting coach, as they had their advanced scout meeting on Ross Ohlendorf. Of course, they'd seen him in the American League, but I said, what about this unusual windup? You see it so unusual. And he said, he tells the hitters the important thing, don't follow the big windup. Don't see all of this. Just try to pick a point to see the release of the baseball and let it go. Because you try to follow his windup, you'd definitely get messed up. Very prepared, Darren Bush, as always. You'd just like to see the hitters be able to execute a little bit more and come up with some runs. He's got them prepared based on what the opposing pitchers will be throwing.
Alonso has hit into a double play, walked, and singled. 2-2 pitch. Base hit center field. So good start for the A's as Alonso has his second hit.
Well, right back up the middle, and a good at bat by Yonder Alonso, and not the follow through by Ohlendorf, taking him to the first base side. Look where this ball had gone right at him. He ducked anyway. Right back up the middle. That's a great approach by Yonder Alonso.
So Tyler Ladendorf will pinch run. And here's Marcus Simeon. Suarez a step onto the grass at third.
Usually you play for a win on the road, a tie at home, and with the third baseman Suarez, even with the bag at third, thinking sacrifice, something that normally is not part of the game, especially when you're playing on the road and trailing by a run in the ninth.
Simeon drives on the right field. Bruce on the move, still on the move, and Bruce catches it. And Ladendorf has to get back. So we've seen pretty good defense from both teams in this game, and that was a huge play.
Oh, slicing away from Bruce in right field. Looked like it might slice to the line and drop, but he reached out, and good swing, good power by Simeon, but approaching the foul line, he caught it. That ball drops. Ladendorf might have scored, but great read by the veteran outfielder. He has provided the offense a 2-run home run and maybe just saved a run there, and extra bases for Simeon.
That'll bring up Muncy. First pitch to Muncy is popped up. Center of the diamond. And it's going to be the shortstop Cozart, and Muncy will not be happy with that at bat. First pitch, a little pop up. So 2 away, and now it's up to Burns.
And if Tyler Ladendorf had any thoughts of stealing his way into scoring position, he's had no chance. First ball hitting by both Semien and now Muncy. Elevated fastball, couldn't get on top of it. And as a result, centered in the middle of the diamond. See the shaking of the head by Ladendorf. Aldretti perhaps trying to tell him what his time is to the plate.
Quick throw and Ladendorf back. Burns is 0 for 3.
And Billy Burns has hit 3 balls in the air, and the ball to center field with a couple of runners on base with a diving catch by Holt saved 2 runs. I always like to see a ball hit in the gap. They're playing him shallow in the outfield.
Burns, a little flare to center, and that's going to fall for a hit. So the A's are still alive here in the 9th inning with the tying run at second base. And now the pinch hitter is going to be Billy Butler.
All right, back up the middle. He got on top of this one enough to drop it cleanly into center field. So both hits, Alonso and now Burns straightaway center. And Billy Butler will try to do his magic.
So Butler pinch hitting. He's 3 for 15 as a pinch hitter this year with 3 RBIs.
Cap Ollendorf has thrown 9 pitches. 3, 1 each in the last 3 batters. Alonso had the longer at bat with the base hit. So Billy Butler will try to do something big here.
First pitch to Butler is a little bit inside. Butler a couple of home runs, 16 RBIs. He's been much better lately after a slow start. And a good swing, fouls it back. Ollendorf. He comes right at you. He's not messing around. So that's the starting pitcher for this game, Daniel Migdon, making his major league debut. He's watching closely.
Yeah, Barnhart, and that's interesting. That's twice now that pitch has been up, yet he goes to his knee to catch it. And it's like he's going up to get something, but his body's going down. So he's been able to handle both. That's dangerous, especially with a hard fastball that high.
Butler much better lately. And now it's 2-2. That one bounces off the facing of the upper deck. The Butler's had a couple of good swings on Ollendorf fastballs. So tense moments here in Cincinnati. It was a 2-1 game last night. 2-1 game so far today. 2-2 pitch, got him swinging. So Ollendorf finally went with a breaking ball, and it's the last pitch he throws, and he's going to get the save. So the A's made a run at it, but they strand a pair in the top of the 9th.
You're right. Fastball after fastball, and then finally Barnhart to go out to talk to him, and maybe he said, let's try the hook. He did it and threw it successfully, and Billy Butler, after seeing 4 fastballs, finally got the curveball and couldn't handle it.
So the winless road trip continues, unfortunately, for the Athletics. Time of game was 2 hours and 43 minutes. 32,034 was your attendance, and the Cincinnati Reds beat the Oakland A's 2-1. You've been watching A's Baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's Post Game Live with Mindy Bach and Carney Lansford starts right now.